Hey guys, this video is for our...
I want to drink.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll get you one in just a second, okay? Give me 1 second. Hey guys, this video is for our 2nd through 4th grade team for January week 4. And all through January, we've been talking about the Life app of knowledge, learning something new so you can be better at whatever you do. And our memory verse for the month is Proverbs 2:6. The Lord gives wisdom. Knowledge and understanding comes from his mouth. So the first week of the month, we learned about Jesus as a boy in the temple. Then we learned about Jesus' baptism. Then we learned about Jesus being tempted in the desert last week. And this week we are learning about Jesus and John the Baptist and how John the Baptist kind of had doubts about if Jesus really was the Messiah after he was imprisoned. And our bottom line was our bottom line is for this week, if you don't understand something about God, ask. So jumping into our leader guide, we would love for you to join us in the garage room at 8:20 and 10:20. It's a great time just to focus our minds for why we are there and serving. Great time to pray for one another and celebrate with one another. And also donuts and coffee, always a bonus. Then just make sure that you were in your small group at 8:30 and 10:30 so that you know you've got everything ready to go for the morning. When service starts at 8:40 and 10:40, kids are going first make it personal. Greet each kiddo by name as they come into your group and help first-time guests to feel welcome. And then you've got did I bring one home? I didn't. It's just a front and back word search page. So there's a word search on the front and a word search on the back. And you're just going to encourage kids to work on that. And while they're finding the words on their word search, ask about their week. Ask them to tell me about a time in their week that was exciting. Tell them about a time in the week that was hard. Just trying to get to know your fear and then make it more personal. Then when service starts at 9:11, this is super fun. You're going to divide your group into 3 or 4 teams and give each team 12 toothpicks. And then you're going to explain that you will give the teams a challenge and they have to work together to figure out a solution. And if they get stuck, they can ask you a question for help. So the first challenge, make 3 squares out of 10 toothpicks, then take away 2 toothpicks and create 2 squares. So then it gives you the solution. So here's the next challenge. Use 6 toothpicks to make 4 triangles. There's the solution. Show your group how to use 12 toothpicks to make 4 squares. Then it kind of tells you there's the solution. So those are just some little fun challenges. They should have a really fun time doing this one. You'll close it down by saying, these brain games were tough. Good thing you could ask for help when your team was stumped. Well, in large group, we're going to discover that when it comes to following God, we can always ask for help. So when you go across the hall to large group, we do have a live host, but we'll be watching a video for the story this week. Shh, Henry. When you get back from large group, you're going to do a review activity called True or False. So kids will have these squares. They'll be front and back, and they'll have a square that says true on one side and false on the other side. These will all be cut apart. And you're going to tell your kids that you're going to ask them several true or false questions. And if the answer is true, then they're going to turn the true side of their card face up. And if the answer is false, they'll turn the false side of their card up. So to keep kids from just going off what their neighbors say, have them cover their answer with their hand until it's time to reveal. So you have all these statements about the story. And it says next to it if they are true or false. So then you'll close it down by saying, so guys, John seems like the last person that would have had doubts about Jesus and who he really was. After all, John was the one who baptized Jesus. Why do you think John began to question Jesus' identity? Do you think Jesus was bothered by the questions John's followers asked of Jesus? No way. No question is too small or too big for God. We can always ask. We can read God's word. We can talk about our questions here in our small group. We can ask our parents or other trusted adults who follow God. And we might not always find an answer, but we will gain knowledge about God by asking questions. And when our faith becomes stronger, we learn and grow. So if you don't understand something about God, ask. Do you need a water? I'll get you one in just a second. So then make it personal. Talk to kids maybe about a question that you were curious about when you were their age, or maybe you wondered about heaven or about how to follow God when others around you were making a difficult choice. And who did you talk to and what did you learn? Then for your memory verse activity, all you need is Bibles. So you're going to look up and review Proverbs 2:6, and then you're going to pair up with another small group. And you're going to get the 2 groups of kids on one side of the room with the small group leader on the other. So you could do like all the girls groups and the girl leaders all the boy groups and the boy leaders. And so you're going to take one kid from each team, and they're going to run to their leader and repeat the verse from memory. If it's correct, they send them back to tag the next person in line and sit down. It's a little relay race. If it's incorrect, they're going to give them a hint, and then they'll send them back to tag the next person. So remind kids that it's okay if they're incorrect the first time. They can always try it again. So if they get it incorrect, they don't sit down, they get back in line. And the goal isn't to be right the first time. The goal is to practice it until they can say it from memory. So play until every kid has said the verse and is seated. And then you're going to say, so guys, all knowledge comes from who? Yeah, from God. And I'm so thankful that God didn't just create us and leave us on our own to figure things out. He's given us his word, and he's given us our families and other adults who trust him. And he's given us this group where we can talk and learn about God together. So just as you ask questions at school to learn something new, I want you to know that you can always ask questions in our group. And if you don't understand something about God, ask. So then you've got some optional small group discussion questions. When you have questions about God, who can you ask? What if you don't get answers to the questions you have? What can you do? What truths do you know about God? How can knowing these truths help you when you have to wait to find the answers to questions? And what do you do when you have questions that don't really have answers? Because there's a lot of those. Great questions, great things to think about. So then in prayer, you'll just need a piece of paper. You're going to give kids a few minutes to ask questions that they have about God. Write their questions down on a piece of paper and remind kids that questions are good because asking questions is one way that we learn and grow. So then pray for the questions that were shared. Ask that God would help us to find the answers to those. And you'll just close it down by saying, so guys, these questions are great. Just remember, you can read God's word, the Bible. You can ask a trusted adult who follows God, and you can always bring your questions to our small group. Henry, can you just stop for a second? Thank you. Knowledge is learning something new so you can be better at whatever you do. And I hope that you'll always, ask questions so you can learn something new about God. Just remember, when you have questions about God, ask. And then just close down in prayer. So that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for serving and learning and helping our kids to grow. I can't believe January is already over. You guys are just amazing. I'm so thankful for all of you. You guys are incredible, incredible small group leaders. Thank you for pouring into this next generation and helping them have knowledge. So I'm so grateful for all of you, and we'll see you on Sunday.